Hello, so today I'm going to be talking about my personal identity. And I believe something that really identifies me is my relationship with God. And I believe that a personal identity is something that sets you apart, something that makes you different. And I used to know of God, but now I feel like I truly know Him personally. And to me, God means love, compassion, and goodness. He is who inspired me to live a better life than the one I was living. He gave me a change of heart and identity, and He gave me amazing people to surround myself with that allow me to grow spiritually alongside them. And I first want to start off by saying how I got to know God and how I used to think like God was a God of many rules, and I don't know, something wasn't clicking, like I just felt like, oh, church was like super strict and this and that. But when you're living a life away from God, it becomes complicated to see what God's plans are. Like, you don't really truly see what He's trying to do in your life. And I had no hopes of changing. I was living a very sinful life, drinking, smoking, hanging around with not very good influence people that were just draining me without me even realizing it. And this type of life came with a lot of anger and a lot of things just piling up in my heart. So when I was able to meet God in these very tough situations that I was in, I kept getting sick. I was in a couple car accidents, and He was just showing me that I was just not where I was supposed to be at, and that I was meant to do something greater than what I was doing. And with all these trials coming my way, I didn't understand what God was doing in my life. But once I started seeking Him in prayer, like all these trials just really led me to Him. And when I started reading my Bible, praying to Him, He just began to speak to me, and slowly was like convicting me of certain things I was doing, like when I would be around these type of people, I'd kind of feel some type of way, like I wasn't feeling as free as I used to. And He just began to like purify my life in a really deep level, and I felt like I just wasn't in the right place anymore. And as I continued to seek Him more, I just kept wanting more of Him. And like the more I read like of Him and like Jesus actual words, like I began to get to know Him, like what He would say. And just like letting go of sin wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be like. And it just became something I wanted to do instead of having to do it, like it became a want. And I changed many things around this time, like many friendships. I had to cut some people off, and some people cut me off because of the way I was living now. I wasn't doing these sort of things anymore. And I didn't just change on the outside, but I was really starting to notice a change inside, with my attitude. I wasn't always this angry girl anymore. Instead of being rude with my parents, I began to actually honor them. I started seeing just my life take a shift in a way. And this was just where I felt God purifying my heart. Overall, He changed my view on this world, and most importantly, my view on God. I was no longer seeing Him like a God of rules, but a God who was being patient enough, waiting for me to come to Him. And God was demanding more of me, but for my own good. And I truly feel like I was saved by His grace, because the way I was living was only damaging me, like it wasn't damaging anybody else around me. Maybe my parents, I was definitely hurting them the way I was living. But other than that, my friends around me were never gonna care like where I ended up, those type of friends. And this is why I identify myself with God, because in Him I found my true self and not who this world wanted me to be. And along with getting closer with God, it came with a huge blessing of having amazing godly friendships within the church. And when I began to take church seriously, I started inviting. I had 3 best friends. I started inviting them to church as well. And when I started to make changes, like they were also kind of feeling the same things I was feeling, and they also began to slowly change things in their lives. Like instead of like going to parties on Fridays, like we go to church. Changes like that. And it was honestly something crazy for me, because it's like, if you would have told me a year ago like we would actually be in church being serious, like I would have probably laughed. But that's how it's a true miracle from God. And when we were finally ready, we all got baptized together, and it was a wonderful, beautiful thing that happened to us. And we're growing together spiritually, and like we have Bible studies, and we're just not allowing ourselves to go back to our sinful ways. Not only that, but now I serve in church. I'm on the worship team. I sing, and 2 of them help out with stage management, and then the other one takes pictures at church. She's a photographer. And it's just honestly so fun, like serving God together, and like just looking forward to seeing each other there, instead of the other places we would see each other at. And this is my new identity, in which I found my true passion and who I truly am by just trusting Him. And it came with so much blessings in my life, honestly. And I was so afraid of living purely, because the enemy did not want this for my life. He wanted destruction. And I truly feel like God doesn't lose His battles, and He fought for my life. And He called me by name. He knows who I am. And I just wanted to end off by saying, like, God works in mysterious ways, and you may not know what's going on in your life, but He does. And in Isaiah 55, 8-9, it says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it.